Everyone. Now let's turn attention to Cameroon, where there is hope for peace, where after 92-year-old Biya has been officially declared the winner of the country's presidential election, extending his decades-long rule by another 7 years. The Constitutional Council made the declaration today, saying that Mr. Biya secured 53.66% of the votes, defeating opposition candidate Issa Chiroma, who allegedly polled 35.19%. Although the election was held on the 12th of October, the results were only confirmed today. The opposition leader, Issa Chiroma, who has consistently challenged President Biya's 43-year hold on power, rejected the election outcome, claiming that he actually won with 54.8% of the votes. Prior to the announcement, he had urged his supporters to hold peaceful marches despite a government ban on public gatherings. After that call, tension escalated in Cameroon's commercial city of Douala yesterday, when clashes turned violent between security forces and opposition supporters. Mr. Biya has ruled Cameroon since 1982. With his latest win, he enters his 8th term in office, making him one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. For more on this, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, David Awaro, joins me on the news here in Lagos. Good to have you join us, Prof.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so let's look at we've talked about Cameroon before. That was before election results were declared. Now, results have been declared. We know that tensions have been built ahead of the election in that country. The decision by Biya to run again, it sort of angered people. And now we're seeing youth protesting across the country. I'm just wondering how volatile you think Cameroon is now.
Yes, very, very volatile. Before the announcement, tension had been building. And this morning, people are gathered at different places and protests began even before the announcement was made, because I think they envisioned that the court was going to announce that Biya had won. And those who thought that Biya didn't win the election and that the whole thing is a fraud began to protest even before the results were announced. So the situation in Cameroon is tense, and we hope that they will be able to manage the contradictions so that some stability can be restored to Cameroon in the aftermath of this election.
And what is the possibility of stability returning? Because Chiroma has claimed that security personnel had attempted to breach his residence to arrest him. We understand now that youths have gathered around his house with different kinds of weapons, daring security forces to come close. Could things escalate further?
Sure. From what we have seen, from what is happening so far, what has happened up to this afternoon, it is almost certain that things will get worse before they get better. But they can be managed in such a way that tensions don't, degenerate into violence. There is no reason for Chiroma to be arrested. What everybody should be advised to do is they have a provision for going to court to test, to challenge the election. And we're hoping that the court will be fair. And at the end of the day, the court will rule and then stability then can be restored. So arresting Chiroma is not the solution. And also violence will also not change what the Constitutional Court has announced. The rule of law needs to be followed. So Chiroma should head to the courts, and the government should also refrain from arresting him. These are the things that would, create some stability in Cameroon, moving forward. But for now, tension continues to escalate, and violence has broken out in some places. But there can be de-escalation if these things we are suggesting are done.
And Prof, Chiroma himself, just examining his candidacy, as much as he has, he's alleging that he won that election, he's not also young. He's in his 70s. He did not. He's also seen as part of the establishment. He was government spokesperson and a part of that cabinet. Is that perhaps why we did not see total opposition support for his candidacy?
It's one of the reasons. But there are also others who see him as far better than Biya. there's almost 20 years separating both of them. And some also see him as the face of a new Cameroon. And some others also see him that, well, he may not be the perfect candidate, but he'll be far preferred for Biya. So yes, some segments of the opposition didn't support him because they saw him as part of the establishment. But several others supported him because they perceive him as offering some advantage moving forward, at least to kick out for Biya first, and then they can reorganize themselves and forge ahead from there. So you are right. Some didn't support him because of the feeling that he belongs to the old establishment. But there are others who think that something different for now will be preferred, and then something better can then come after that. That is the mood in Cameroon right now.
And let's just look at this even more broadly. President Biya has been in office since 1982, as you know. He will be nearly 100 by the time he's wrapping up this term. He did away with the presidential term limit in 2008, and he's been winning re-election by comfortable margins. I'm just wondering how leaders are able to have a tight grip on power, especially on the continent.
I think the success that Biya has achieved over these years is can partly be blamed on Cameroonians themselves. One ancient Greek philosopher says that every government is a reflection of its people, with their wisdom and unwisdom. How did he get the change of constitution in 2008 to run perpetually? People in parliament made that happen. How did they allow that to happen? And these elections that have been conducted over and over again, and that he wins 60%, this time around 54%, and the rest of them, it is Cameroonians that conduct the election. Now we are advising Chiroma to go to court. He's reluctant to go to court because he feels that he will not likely get justice in court. It is not Biya that will sit in the courts. It is Cameroonians that will sit in the courts. And so Chiroma says he has the figures. If he takes the figures to court and he proves his case, the court is supposed to overturn the results of the election. But that will not likely happen. So it's an indictment on Cameroonians themselves generally, really, if one looks at it. Biya alone could not have achieved all of these successes he has achieved, but for some cooperation from some segments of Cameroonian society. So it's a reflection of what Cameroon is. And that is what needs to change for Cameroon to change.
Prof, thank you so much for your interesting analysis as always. Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies, David Awaro. A pleasure to have you on.